it is Danny with Seek N-Word, and today we are going to be talking about mental health. And we are going to talk about life advice, and this is actually part 2, so if you haven't seen part 1 yet, please go ahead and check that out. I will be doing my makeup because here at Seek N-Word, even though we are all about turning inwards and doing the inside work, we also understand the practicality of looking beautiful on the outside. So we are just going to do a simple makeup look, and I will link all the products in the description below. And really, this life advice is to inspire you, to help you if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling stuck, or if you're just feeling like, what does it take to live a good life? Please stick around for the video, like and subscribe if you find it to be helpful. All right, so first I wanted to talk about having a vision for your life and how important that is for your life. I mean, if you don't have a vision or direction that you would like to go to, you're just kind of like driving a car with no direction and driving in circles. Like, it's really important to have a vision, and also that's what's going to drive you to do the kind of mundane work that you have to do to achieve visions, is to just keep on envisioning what you want for your life. I mean, this is what many successful people do. They set goals, they have visions. So if you want to live a good life, have a good vision for your life. So let your passions guide you and lead you to exploration. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is that if you are young, early 20s, late teens, I really recommend not buying a house or getting married or having kids. Not that there's anything wrong with doing that. It's just takes up a lot of your time and a lot of your freedom for exploration of your career. And if you aren't in a career that you are passionate about, then your mental health probably isn't going to be the best, and your kids are going to be impacted by that. So I would really focus your early years on your careers and not having too many things that will tie you down. Another thing I wanted to mention was all of the distractions that we face today. It's really easy to not turn inwards and do work on ourselves and get distracted by all these family commitments and obligations and, the social media distractions. So obviously a million distractions out there, and really try to not overload your schedule with too many commitments. Because how are you supposed to contemplate life, reflect on life, realize you're living the life that you want to live if you're busy all the time? You really have to stop and think okay, my family might be mad at me for not attending this event, but I have a mission to help all these people. So I'm not attending that event today because I have a mission to serve. It's not that I don't care, it's that I can't care. And hopefully they will respect that boundary. But just, reduce distractions. Leave empty time in your schedule during the day where you can meditate, contemplate, read a book, plan out your life, vision, and dream. Your schedule really won't have time for you to do these things, to turn inward and find the deep answers in life. But honestly, the greatest joy and fulfillment in life comes from finding those deep answers within yourself. And honestly, the deepest answers aren't found in books or when you go to retreats and stuff like that. They are found inside of yourself. That's why, as a life coach, I'm always prying and asking people questions that can help guide them to their own answers, because they know themselves best at the end of the day. And a single day of reflecting is not enough. We have to get into retreats. Leo has a life purpose course. There are many courses out there for life contemplation that I highly recommend that you take, because a single day of doing this contemplation stuff is not enough. You won't figure out exactly what is meaningful to you in life and what makes you happy, and you're always kind of re-evaluating those things. That obviously, as humans, we evolve and change over time, and nobody really teaches this stuff. There's not really a proper discussion about life advice and turning inwards and contemplation. So this process really takes years, and you have to be committed. Discover your own authentic passions, discover your own motivations and your own values. So what's the next thing? My cat doesn't want me to vlog today. Okay, where was I? Oh, pencil. Oh, got it. Okay. Next, I wanted to talk about good old love, but really just how we need to stop trying to get love from other people and other things. Trauma is basically us being deprived of love in some sort of way when we were younger, and we try to find love later in life by really having others fill up our cup. But this will not give you any results. If you want results, develop yourself to be a non-needy person. Your cup should already be full, and you should be filling up other people's cups full of love. Fill your own cup by developing your own spiritual practice, creative work, and passion. Dedicate your life to discovering how you can fill your own cup up with love. I can't teach you how to do that in a few sentences, unfortunately. It's a huge accomplishment. It takes a long time. So physical things will not end up making you happy, or material things. I mean, maybe in the short term, but in the long term, definitely not. Okay, next I wanted to mention studying the stages of human development. Spiral dynamics is a model that you can look at that kind of shows the different energy levels at the different stages of human development. It is very useful for self-development. See where you are and where you may need some help and what you need to do to level up. There are stages of human development that we could call superhuman. They are ways of being in the world that are totally different and radically advanced, that you can't even imagine it or conceive it. You may even have a hard time believing that there is such a high stage of human development because we aren't really taught this in school. The challenge is really to communicate this superhuman level of consciousness and development that is possible for human beings. It kind of seems like a fantasy. Okay, this may sound kind of vague, but there is actually a rare number of individuals that exist on this planet who have reached superhuman levels of consciousness, which is really hard to communicate, this superhuman level of consciousness, especially if we are underdeveloped. I know I'm not there yet. I wish. But it is possible, and skeptics look at this and say that it's all myths and fairy tales. But what if they weren't? What if this were actually possible for humans? It's not taken seriously. I mean, look at the people around you. I mean, most of the people around you are most likely mediocre. My material is to help you move up to this superhuman level of consciousness. You have to be really open about what the possibilities are. It's so much work, and the only way that you are really going to do that work is if you kind of have an idea of how amazing it's going to be once you reach the highest levels. Don't be lazy, don't be complacent, don't be closed-minded, don't be afraid to experiment, to discover superhuman levels. Another piece of life advice I found really helpful for myself is just the idea that reality is honestly all perspective. So it's like, obviously, Danny, like everything is perspective, but I mean, really think deeply about this, because when we have a perspective on life and the way that life should be, I mean, that might limit you in some ways. It may help you in some ways too, but it's really important that you kind of take on other people's perspectives and other people's beliefs and not get so ideological and dogmatic about one specific belief that is out there. So explore all the perspectives that are out there. Every perspective is limited. And so go through life not trying to defend your perspective, but and not thinking that there's like one true perspective out there, but look at it as reality really is only perspectives and there isn't one right one, your life will go much better this way. Most people defend their perspective like it's an objective, ultimate truth. Every point of view does contain some truth in it, and it's your job to find it, but it's not all the ultimate truth. And some people might think that this is a problem, all these perspectives kind of like colliding and clashing, but really this is the beauty of reality. Free your mind up so that it can operate from any operating system. Appreciate the full diversity that life has to offer. You have to be willing to detach from your own perspective and question your own mind. It's scary and difficult because that's your entire anchor, your identity. And I recommend that you take this on as a project to really open your mind and take on other people's perspectives, to explore more perspectives without getting attached to a particular one. Okay. Now I just want to ask you some empowering questions that I really want you to think about and contemplate. So the first one is, how much do you want out of your life? What are you going to settle for? Are you going to honor your life? Are you going to acknowledge the miracle that life is by working on yourself to actualize your full potential? Are you willing to sacrifice and pay the price for working on yourself to reach your full potential? Are you willing to invest in yourself every day and push your comfort zone? Nobody else around you will be doing this. You're going to feel weird and people are going to try and drag you down. Have a deep commitment. Have confidence in yourself that this is the kind of life that you want to live. You need that desire to live an extraordinary life. The journey is just as important as the destination, so really savor the journey of life. So I'm done with those questions, and now I want to talk about truth, because I think it's really important as human beings that we deeply care about what the truth is, even if that means that it breaks down our own personal perspective. It's really easy to think that we are right and know what the truth is. I think truth should be one of your highest priorities and values. Without this, you will fall into falsehood and delusion. If you're not willing to accept the costs that come with seeking the ultimate truth, then don't even watch my channel, because you have to have a genuine intent to understand every point of view. I will say that one of the biggest obstacles to discovering kind of the truth of reality is your ego. So your ego is kind of the root of all human problems and suffering. It evolved for a reason. We don't dislike the ego, but we are trying to evolve past the ego. And because it is your identity with your biological body and mind. So it's your personal story. Your own mind can lie to you, can trick you, can deceive you. So it's really important. Self-deception is very possible for you, so don't act like you're above it. And if you were in a matrix right now, how would you know? When I talk about discovering the truth, I'm kind of like talking about the truth of reality, the truth that is beyond human thought, that can't be put into a language. This is getting like really deep here, but that ultimately is what this channel is getting to, into the really deep non-duality matrix reality that we are living in. That's what we want to figure out. That's what we're trying to tap into, because once we know the truth of reality, that is kind of our ego just going away and us being fully present and here and being in alignment with just awareness. Because that's the whole thing too. Like, what is awareness? What is consciousness? Like, if someone just came up to you and asked you what awareness is, or what is a thought, or like what is a feeling, like these aren't tangible, like measurable things. So these are deep questions that might just seem philosophical and not practical in any type of way, but the answer to those questions is the truth that we are trying to get into, that we all hopefully genuinely care about knowing. And so anyways, you would think that science would have had it figured out by now, but no. So you need to get good at seeing your own self-deceptions. If you're trying to understand the truth and kind of understand reality, the biggest obstacle is self-deception. So recognize your own self-biases and selfishness. Recognize that the whole purpose of the self or the ego is to survive. So you're always going to be manipulating situations to help serve yourself. And this is preventing you from being able to access the truth, which you need in order to live the good life. So ego is a huge obstacle. Also, fear, anger, judgment, and suffering are all preventing you from living the good life. And the truth is that all of your fear, anger, judgment, and suffering are created from within you. So that's why this is seek inward, because we are taking full responsibility for our emotions and our feelings, and understand that they all come from within us and not from anyone else. And it's all about your inner game and the way you look at things, and ask yourself, how am I creating this imperfection out of the perfection that's already there? Okay, I just did my eyeliner and my lip liner off camera real quick. Those were a struggle on camera. So next I wanted to talk about caring about metaphysical and philosophical matters. And I will do my contour and blush next. Okay, so metaphysics and philosophy are more abstract. Therefore, it takes more effort and study to kind of find the applications of them, but they're actually very practical. So I highly recommend that you look into what metaphysics is, look into philosophy. I mean, the academics have kind of made a mockery of philosophy in a way today, because it really just kind of talks about like the old philosophers, and I don't think people take philosophy seriously enough, because it actually can be used to kind of lose your ego and discover the truth that I was talking about earlier. But anyways, check out philosophy, check out metaphysics, and then I want to just kind of talk about your purpose in life. Everyone obviously has different purposes, different journeys, or you can think of it as like no one has any purpose at all. Either way, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, consciousness is being risen. So if you think about the earlier humans before us, their consciousness has evolved over time to become more aware. And like I talked about earlier, what is awareness? Like, what are we becoming? Why is our awareness growing? Why is our consciousness growing? We don't even know what awareness and consciousness is, but we can see that over time it has grown, and there are more and more aware beings. And so I really do think that one of humans' main purposes is to raise our consciousness. So you should be concerned with raising your consciousness every single day. So our other purpose would be to raise our capacity to love. I don't know, things were really bad back in the day, and we have just grown as a species to love more and have more compassion, and I really think that is all of our purpose, is to raise our capacity to love. Your third purpose in life is to take in the beauty of life. You know, life is really beautiful, and it's important to take the time to train yourself to see the beauty in everything. And it also kind of requires surrendering your ego. I mean, it's really hard to look at a devastating earthquake or hurricane and say, wow, that's beautiful. But at the end of the day, it's all part of this magical world that we live in, and it is beautiful. So can you see the beauty of dog poop on the sidewalk? Train yourself. See if you can learn how to see the beauty in that. The ego really loves to cherry pick what it loves and what it doesn't think is beautiful. So we really want to kind of surrender that ego and open up to everything being beautiful. That is your work. Your fourth purpose is to feel alive every single day. So your fourth purpose is to feel alive every single day. Live proactively. Don't go through one single day with all these boring emotions, and kind of pursue spirituality or your metaphysical connection to reality in some sort of way. All right, next I wanted to talk about how life is very counterintuitive. It will work the opposite of how you think it will work. And so if you're trying to attract like a man or attract a woman, for example, you'll kind of have to do the opposite of what you think you should do. So a lot of men think that they need to get super ripped at the gym and be super masculine and strong, and women actually counterintuitively really do like a really sensitive and sweet guy. And another example is for business. A lot of people just want to present a product or a course or something like that to everyone, when it's actually really more helpful to have a niche and a certain narrow group of people that you are honing into for that business, which is also counterintuitive. And another thing that is counterintuitive is really the pursuit of happiness, because emotions are really counterintuitive. Basically, we got to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing, I feel like sometimes, because it's just so freaking counterintuitive, and this isn't really talked a lot about, I feel like, in society. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish up with the mascara here, and I did want to mention a little bit about this truth I was talking about earlier that you might be interested in looking more into, but just this truth is this idea that reality is not material like we think that it is. It's actually not physical in any way. There's actually no proof of what matter or mass actually is. We don't know. And reality is essentially possible to put into words, but it is kind of like a mind of its own. And it's all one mind. And that's why you might hear Buddhist monks or other religious people say, like, we are all one, we are all one, which sounds like maybe this connective, like, oh, okay, we all come from the stars and we are all one, but it's like, no, we are actually all this one mind that is kind of exploring itself, which my future videos will definitely get more into talking about all that, because I think it's so fun. I think it's so interesting. And I think my intuition is telling me that it's the truth. I still have a lot of inner work to do on myself. But that is really all of the life advice I had for today. I'm really thinking about starting a new monk mystery Monday series where I kind of tell stories about monks, because I feel like monks are this whole mysterious, lead these whole mysterious lives that we don't really know a lot about, but they seem to be really at that superhuman level of consciousness that I was talking about earlier. And I'm always interested in a monk's life story, how they became a monk, what their life was like before they became a monk. So anyways, let me just do my hair down and I will come back with the finished look and say bye to you guys. This is the finished look. Tell me what you think, please. Like, subscribe to my channel, please. I really appreciate you watching if you made it this far in the video. And please let me know what you would like to see more of, what you would like to see less of, if you like the makeup thing. And I really hope that I'm providing you with practical mental health techniques, advice, tools, you name it. That is what Seek Inward is all about. I am also a life coach, so if you are interested in life coaching, please message me. And thank you so much for listening again today. And I will see you soon, Seekers. Bye.